its place with increased accuracy and greater speed thanks to the John Deere Smart Grade. This fully integrated 3D grade control system boosts job site productivity and reduces labor costs with fewer passes and less wasted material, meaning more bids won and higher margins. No masts, no cables, just clear views of the job site. Visit your local Landmark implement today and discover the profit-boosting power of the Smart Grade and experience the Landmark difference.
Load up on meat and more this fall at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's special through October 15th is $2 off tray packaged ground beef, $2 off hot dogs, 15% off cookbooks, and buy one, get one 50% off on hardcore carnivore seasoning. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Highway 2 in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
If you're a homeowner or a business owner, you have a lot of projects, and no one has an unlimited budget or time. Sunbelt Rentals makes all jobs less stressful with no need to purchase large equipment or hire a crew. You can do it yourself with rentals and everything from aerators and power rakes for spring yard work to stump grinders, concrete mixers, tile saws, and more. Check out their inventory in Lincoln, north of Cornhusker Highway on 56th Street, or online at sunbeltrentals.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see mostly sunny skies with light south winds and an afternoon high around 86. Tonight, partly cloudy skies with calm winds and a low around 56. And tomorrow, we'll see mostly sunny skies return with light winds and an afternoon high around 89. I'm meteorologist Kyle Klecker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Broadcasting veteran Derek Pearson.
When you find something that moves them, that makes them smile, celebrate it. That's your task. That's your superpower.
Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score!
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Yes, sir. Happy Wednesday, hump day. Jay Foreman, DP. We got my man Harrison sitting in for Austin, who's in Kansas City covering the game. But we are the Old School crew coming at you live from 11th and O Street, 1040 O Street to be exact. We are brought to you by the Mercado, Certified Piedmontese Special Ingredients Butcher Shop. 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, 85th and Andermatt, and 168th and Maple. We are back in effect after DP was in Utah and covering the UFC. We had
They was asking for you, man. Where you at? They was like, where's Jay Foreman at?
hey, man. I mean, yeah, I had to sit that one out. But the DP, we had Teammates Tuesdays, and then now we're back in effect. Welcome back. The UFC was obviously always a hit up there in Utah, and obviously you weren't in town. I know you kept a good eye on the Nebraska game. We got about 13 minutes here, so a lot has happened in your home away from home in Las Vegas as far as on the NFL front, and with the Raiders. And me and you were able to experience the Raider. I call it Raiderism during the Super Bowl. And the way that they are able to, first of all, it was a beautiful stadium, great field. Me and Jakey were down there, but the fandom of the Raiders is definitely taking over Las Vegas. And it was on the backs of Devontae Adams coming off of Antonio Pierce, so forth and so on. Me and DP saw him. He walked in like a OG, triple OG. I think that sentiment has changed after the show calls for 8 years and from Arizona State, so forth and so on. But a lot has changed, DP. I wanted to really pick your brain about it because I think Devontae Adams, when you really listen to some of the reports, you know, a pulled hamstring on Friday, which hardly ever happens when you're highly trained, highly trained, in phenomenal shape type of athlete. And Friday's practices are, essentially a jog through. Some people don't, as you know, right back with the Redskins and other teams you covered, Panthers. A lot of times you don't even break a sweat. But then it came out that Antonio, he went to Baltimore, they got shellacked or whatever it was, and then he said, "Listen, I don't want my career to end this way." And what people just didn't understand is why he said it, how he said it, and also who he said it to. And I wanted to ask you, do you think it was in response to we got players making business decisions, and now we are? A lack of quarterback play with Gardner Minshew is the guy, and I think they might have O'Connell in there now, or at least played last week, or maybe his mop-up duty. But then also looking at it like, listen, like we got some talent, but we just are not a very good team. Or is it the appeal of Aaron trying to send the bat signal from New York?
Yeah, it seems to me, and there's always some curtain that hadn't been pulled.
Exactly.
In the conversations, and we don't know the conversations between Rodgers and Adams. We don't know the conversations between the Packers and Raiders, the Jets and Raiders.
Or
we
the
don't
Saints and the Raiders.
The Saints and, like for any variety, Commanders and Raiders for that matter. And then all the politics that go on, and all the private brotherhoods, all the known brotherhoods and the private brotherhoods, the agreements, the wink and the nods to say, "Hey, look, I'm going to try to make this thing work for you because it works for us." But in the end, I still try to remain a fan.
Yeah.
And ultimately, what are you doing to those Raider fans?
Yeah.
What are you doing to them?
Mm-hmm.
And it's disrespectful. There's nothing heats me up more than an organization that doesn't care about the people that they're supposed to care about most.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that's player or fan. Depends on the organization, right?
Yeah.
We know different organizations.
I think they know if they don't care about the fans, they don't care about the players.
Right.
Or if they don't care about the players, they don't care about the fans.
Right. And that they don't face, most owners and execs don't face the fans. They never communicate with them. They're never in touch.
Yeah.
But they do, in fact, communicate with the players, at least at some level.
Yeah.
Right. That at some point the player knows how to get a hold of the GM.
Especially with that at his level.
Right.
Yeah.
And that if they're treating you, if you're an all-pro, legitimate all-pro, and they're treating you though you're like yesterday's news, that's on purpose.
Yeah.
That's on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
So it opens the door that this version of the NFL is going in different directions. It's a tentacled octopus that the Chiefs have figured out that, listen, we're going to take care of a core group of players and we'll let everybody else orbit around them. As long as Andy Reid's constant message is in play, they're going to be okay. They may not be the best team, but they'll be okay.
Yeah.
Right? They'll be okay. Pittsburgh has figured out, listen, Tomlin will keep it in orbit. He'll keep the thing moving. It may not be always pretty, but he'll keep it in motion.
Yeah.
Vegas hasn't figured that out yet. They hadn't figured it out. That, wait a minute, you said Derek Carr was washed. So he heads down to New Orleans and sets it on fire for a couple of weeks, and then you look silly.
Yeah.
And I happen to watch Sunday's game, Raiders, with some Raider fans who were diehard about it.
Oh, yeah.
And, this was not a pleasant Sunday.
Yeah, it's interesting, especially when you explain it like that. Where people are in the appeal of Kansas City. When you think you can get a Kareem Hunt to come back, a Juju Smith-Schuster come back, and then all of a sudden now he can play receiver again. It's and we'll get into this at the 5 o'clock hour about what it takes to really win. Because I think there's people that don't understand it. And if you've never really won or made the effort to win, then you will never understand it. You'll kind of continue to spin your wheels, and it will never change. That's the thing. That's the great thing about winning. It will never change what you have to do in order to win. But when you think about the Raiders in the owner, and I like the younger version, the younger Davis, and the older, obviously the older one got a little bit older, or obviously a little bit, he kind of always, Al was always, like he never paid Mike Shanahan, he never paid Lane. How do you, that's another whole nother show. But it's like, okay, you want Devontae Adams. This is the guy that you want. This is what's going to set you over the edge or get you over the hump. You're in a new city, a phenomenal stadium. I mean, that stadium is for real. You bring all the old Raiders back. You create that mystique of what made you guys great. You have a fresh city that essentially you didn't have to conquer. They were just salivating for you. And then within 8 weeks, you get rid of the dude that was like your franchise quarterback. You're like it's like Josh McDaniel came in and fooled you. So then you fooled the fans. And then the worst part is you fooled the guy, Devontae Adams, who was at the time at the apex of his career, and he's still there. And there was such a large gap between him and who was next to come there. That's why he went in that office. That's why he was thinking about it. That's why if you ever get a chance to watch on Netflix Wide Receiver 1, he essentially said, I don't have to be here. If I wasn't all in, then I wouldn't be here. Mm-hmm. He's letting you know by saying that he's watching everything that you do. Every move, how you treat people, what do you do? And then when you're thinking about it, he's like, well, okay, you got rid of Derek Carr. Okay. Our offensive line was porous. Our defense was like strict, shaky at best.
Got rid of Jacobs too.
Got rid of Jake for cheap though.
For nothing.
For nothing. Like, but didn't even Al Foreman. He got rid of the guy that really set the table for you in his prime, and he was begging to stay. And then you're like, then the best you bring is Gardner Minshew. Like you got to think though. I mean, just think of Devontae.
This is some real New York Jets vibe.
Oh, we're gonna get to that next.
Right.
We're gonna get to that next. I mean, there's plenty of the blame to go around. Because we're gonna get into the Jets, the Jets and the Browns, but more or less the Jets. How do you get to this point? But the great thing about, I think, that where Devontae gets a lot more respect from me is that he went in and talked about himself and his situation versus going in there. And even because they covered in the Wide Receiver 1 with Josh McDaniel getting fired, he's like, I just appreciate they kept me abreast. So he removed himself from it, which you have to respect. Versus Aaron Rodgers goes in there and was like, hey, man, you're going to demote my boy. Now I'm going right to the head, man. You gone. And so when you lose a big person like that in the locker room, this season's done. This season and next season is done. Antonio Pierce is either on the hot seat right now, or it'll be 5 games in, and we'll be having a conference or press conference with the Raiders, and okay, it didn't work out, blah, blah, blah. That's exactly, mark my word. Or if it doesn't happen next year, it'll be this year. And you wonder why the Raiders, who are a blue blood franchise, are never respected. It's because of stuff like this. You go get the best. You got to think, Devontae Adams is a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer. This is a dude you're not gonna get. Like, you ain't gonna draft a dude like this. You generally don't get a guy to come to the Raiders in free agency like this. You know what I'm saying? Because generally, if they left the Packers, they're going to, the Chiefs or something like that.
Well, but that's the real question for me. You just mentioned the thing about blue bloods, and in college, it's cyclical, because you could be considered blue blood, and blue blood is long term, but being elite, currently elite
is
programs
different.
Is different than being blue blood.
Yeah, and that change. You're right. It does. Right? It changes whoever kind of lessens the curve.
So what I would ask you is, who are the elite NFL organizations? Because it's that conversation we talk about every year, that not everybody's trying to be the best.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, not many people are trying to be elite.
No. Oh no,
right? They're not trying.
That's the
like,
letdown about the NFL.
They're trying to be good enough to stay in business because the business is good.
The business is it's phenomenal.
The business is good. If you're the worst NFL team, the business is good.
The business is great when you're the worst team.
Right.
Because you ain't paying nobody to
you're
get
not
on the
paying
field.
anybody, and you're about to get the real injection from the number 1 draft pick.
Oh yeah.
And it's done that way on purpose.
Oh yeah.
But if you're Devontae Adams,
if I'm him,
and remove his personal relationship.
Yeah, I'd probably say Kansas City is it's weird because Kansas City on the field in the meeting rooms is number 1. When their facilities are garbage now, but I think Andy Reid is the ultimate equalizer. So I would say Kansas City. They take care of their players and all that. I would say Pittsburgh for sure.
Yeah.
I will say this, and this is a team that's kind of a little bit shaky. I would say also elite team is the Eagles because of Howie Roseman and what they do and what he's done. And what you know what I mean? I mean,
I don't even know. Here's what's really, really interesting to me. That I'm not sure there's more than 2. I'm not sure.
I like those 3.
And you told me the Niners with the new facility and the fact that
I would.
They've juggled a lot of talent.
Yeah, I'd put the Niners
second tier.
High second tier. I'd put them in there. You know who quietly is Seattle.
No, they're going to say Packers.
Yeah, and the Packers. That was my next one. But
doesn't the stench of Pete Carroll and all of the questions that go on about, because it's really hard to mess up Seattle.
It is, but
really
it's hard. But they've drafted well. They've taken care of their players. They free agents as well with Cliff Averill and all those guys. They've done a really good job. I think they did Bobby Wagner, dog. And you know who else? I'll throw the new Rams with McVay in there. I think that's an appealing place to play. And this is the last team I probably can think of, and it's probably just actually 2. And in Detroit.
No,
hold on.
There's such a rat infestation.
Detroit with Dan Campbell. I'm talking about
as
coach
it currently stands now.
Yes. Yeah. We're talking about right now.
Yeah.
Right. Actually trying to win, coach to win, draft to win, play to win. Detroit. I'm gonna put Houston in there, but it's Houston. Just 18 months ago, I would have said no. When you went through my man Dave Coley and Lovie Smith, like. Both 8 years of contracts, they barely got through a year. I would say Houston right now, and then maybe the Vikings.
We know,
but that's not even half the league,
right? But we know that there are neighborhoods in Lincoln, Lancaster County. There are neighborhoods where the land has value.
Oh yeah,
but it's got a crappy house and a crappy landlord.
That's everywhere. That's like Houston with no zoning.
And then somebody comes in and he looks at it and he goes, "Okay, I need to just destroy all of this,
blow it up,
and then from the ground up, I'm going to build a mansion."
Yeah,
and I'm going to they realize I have to put the best foundation in.
Yeah,
I have to get the best drainage, so when Milton shows up, I got protection, right? Because I don't want to invest and then have it blown away. And then choosing not only who sells it, who builds it and sells it, but who buys it, and then who maintains it.
Yeah, who keeps it? Who takes it? When you sell your business, you want to make sure you send it to somebody.
Detroit and Houston, oh my goodness, those were not nice neighborhoods.
No.
3 years ago,
they had visionaries.
Well, here's the thing. They're all owned by banks. So in truth, there's no reason for them to ever be that bad. There's no excuse for Houston, Detroit, Cleveland to ever.
Cleveland for
Jets,
sure.
The Jets, the Giants
should never. Yeah.
Jets, Giants should never be terrible. Vegas should never be terrible. They should just never be terrible. But somehow they managed to be terrible and ruin it all. And then we keep giving them a chance.
Well, I think the Raiders are always going to be the Raiders. It's kind of like the Cowboys. They're just going to mess it up.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Giants, I think when they pulled the plug on Tom Coughlin, you lost the identity of what New York. I think the biggest problem with a lot of football teams and sometimes college football teams, like I don't think people that make decisions, they don't put enough emphasis on, like in New York, right? The head coach has to embody whatever team they're coaching. They have to. Okay, I mean, and it could be simply in as dumb as Andy Reid loves barbecue and he loves to eat. Well, what's Kansas City known for, right? But it all matches up, right? He's appealing to the masses. He's a great coach, right? And he loved Philly cheesesteak, so it worked out there. And it is not necessarily about food; it's about who represents it, right?
Well, it was Parcells in that
New
entire
York
run of the Giants and Jets, right?
Right.
They were absolutely. Then he got to Dallas and realized some of that stuff didn't sell,
right?
In Dallas,
because Dallas is, when you're a head coach, you're not even a head coach. You're like a personality, right? I mean, you got to think about it, because that's what that.
I want to say. This is what's funny is that there were some really great assistant coaches in Washington back in the day. Back in the under the Joe Gibbs era, and there were a lot of folks, Russ Grimm, Bugle, that crew, Donnie Bro, all those ones that went on to be head coaches somewhere else. But they said, being an assistant coach in Washington, you're very famous, but you're like the vice president. You don't really get to do much.
Yeah,
just do your job.
Yeah, do your job and go home.
Do your job and go home. And they pointed out that in the NFL currently, that job, that title, and that responsibility belongs to the head coach. It's the owner who's the real star.
Oh, in Dallas?
In the NFL.
Yeah,
in every NFL city. Think about that. That in every NFL city, the star maker is in fact the owner. It's not, you got away from the day of having coaches. You imagine a Joe Gibbs, a Parcells, that was a run of dudes who were in place. It's just not existing anymore.
Yeah, the owners are out in front a lot more now. Granted, it's because of the money and the TV contracts, and then obviously they have to answer for some of their bad moves, or actually bold moves they like to be out in front of. Good segment here. We're going to take a quick break. Come back. We're going to talk New York Jets. We're going to talk the how it happens, from my experience in the NFL, how this happens. I've been a part of teams where guys get coaches fired. Aaron Rodgers has a lot of blame, but there's other people that have some blame too, and it's not who you can think. Jay Foreman, DP Harrison, Old School Crew. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Old School with DP and Jay. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
When you need a new water heater, nothing beats the ProLine family of water heaters from A.O. Smith. ProLine models are built using commercial-grade components, meaning they're built to help you tackle your toughest days. No matter if you need a gas or electric model, A.O. Smith has a ProLine unit for you. A.O. Smith, innovation has a name. Call Wellman Plumbing at 402-434-2400 for a great deal on a water heater today. Again, that's 402-434-2400.
My husband has always been the one we depend on. He's a great dad, loves the outdoors, but lately he hasn't been himself. He tried to hide it, but I can tell he's struggling with his mental health. I called the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline.
988 calls and texts are free and confidential, with skilled caring support 24/7. No judgment, just help.
988 saved my husband's life.
Paid for by the University of Nebraska Public Policy Center. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Landmark Implement helps you put dirt in its place with increased accuracy and greater speed thanks to the John Deere Smart Grade. This fully integrated 3D grade control system boosts job site productivity and reduces labor costs with fewer passes and less wasted material, meaning more bids won and higher margins. No masts, no cables, just clear views of the job site. Visit your local Landmark Implement today and discover the profit-boosting power of the Smart Grade and experience the Landmark difference.
College football in Lincoln, America. The time has come. Start your game day off right with the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Join the ticket crew as they bring you all the coverage you need to get you ready for the action. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Brought to you by General Fire and Safety, Raisin Canes, Perch Merch, Sunbelt Rentals, Mullen Motors, Select Plumbing, and the Kindler Hotel. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
It's the fall sports season, and that means that the school year is back in session and you're planning road trips for Nebraska football games and following your kids around to their different events. Stop telling yourself you'll upgrade your car someday and do it now. Mullen Motors lot is full of great vehicles to take home so you don't have to worry about your current car struggling through another season. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Lake and find your next ride. As your fall schedule gets busy, you'll need a reliable way to get to your destinations. Mullen Motors.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Back to old school with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up? We're back. Jay Foreman, DP, my man Harrison on the ones and twos. NFL talk for this hour. A lot of stuff going on in sports, man. You got 4 MLB games, obviously playoffs. Detroit is up on the Guardians, 3-0. Pretty much the game is middle of the 8th, but
let me give you this. So it's 2024, and 2 of the teams that are currently in the playoffs, and this is a rare pairing. But what if I told you there's a team that in 1984 In the championship series, they faced the Kansas City Royals and then the San Diego Padres in the World Series.
Who would that be? Detroit? Yeah, that's right. They had my man Alan Trammell.
Just 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Sometimes the Matrix hiccups, right? You get a glitch.
Oh yeah, because I'm saying, hey, them Padres are they knee deep in them Dodgers right now.
The Dodgers want no part of this.
Yeah,
They want
Manny Machado's doing his thing out there, boy.
him and Tatis.
And they merengue the whole way in the locker room.
You know, they got a mariachi band in the locker room.
They celebrating like they won the world championship after every game, man. More power to them. But back to these Jets with the big news yesterday in the middle of the day. So essentially, on the mandatory day off for everybody listening, the mandatory day off in the NFL is Tuesdays. Firings usually happen on Mondays, just FYI, right? The Jets played over in London, I think, and then upon coming back, Robert Saleh was going to demote or take away some of the play calling duties of the OC. Aaron decided to say, hell no, I don't like that. Go up to Woody Johnson, called him on his cell, and said, you know what, it's time to make a move. Look, Aaron Rodgers says he had nothing to do with it. Yeah, you did. And there's and I guess that, he has to say he didn't. But here's where Woody Johnson as an owner failed the Jets fans, like DP's talked about, and some of the players. When you sent multiple Jets out there to recruit Aaron Rodgers, obviously it took so long for him to become a Jet because he really didn't want to be a Jet. And and here's the thing where you knew Aaron Rodgers ran the team. This year, they have what's called mandatory minicamp. Mandatory means unless it's essentially a family emergency, that'd be like a death, birth of a child, something like, I guess, a wedding or whatever. You are obligated through your contract and your contract with the team to be there. Aaron Rodgers has chose knowingly that this would undermine the head coach not to show up. Therefore, it let me know that dude is above the head coach, and the time clock or the hot seat on Robert Saleh was in warp speed, and it was never going to work out unless the Jets were 4-1, 5-0, even 3-2, and any type of blame or any type of the first big move would be the domino. But this is how this really happens. This happens because the GM and the people that make these decisions, that's in salary cap, free agent, signings, and how they manage the team, failed Robert Saleh from the get-go, from the very beginning. Because if you get Aaron Rodgers, the first thing you have to do is make sure the offensive line is up to par. It has not been, right? No matter what type of supplements he's taken, no matter what type of to help heal the Achilles injury.
Tea and candy.
You signed a aging and declining Tyron Smith and multiple other guys that weren't very good. And you decided to bring in an offensive coordinator that essentially was a mouthpiece for your quarterback. And you have two really good running backs. You have Hall, who's a Pro Bowler, and then you got Allen, who's kind of like thunder and lightning. He's the guy right there that could, be the change of pace back, even though he's big like a defensive end. And you have chosen not to establish some sort of running game to go along with your passing game. And then you turn around and fire a defensive-minded coach where the defense is only giving up, I think 21 points is the most, and that was the last game. And that's what you do. And right now, this is the lasting memory for Aaron Rodgers' career. And this is what I'm telling you. It's no different than Russell Wilson. And good on Russell Wilson to get out of Denver. Now he's at Pittsburgh, and if he can get back on the field, great. But this is the last thing that people are going to remember about Aaron Rodgers. And here's also what's different. A little bit more to it. Mike McCarthy. All the reports used to hear about Mike McCarthy, that he stayed in the hot tub too long, That no, this is.
Yeah,
I mean, we right.
Right.
What, you mad because the dude got in the hot tub? That he's in the hot tub too long. He didn't give you. He didn't. You were calling the plays and he wasn't. Right. It was essentially you and Devontae, outplaying the play calling of Mike McCarthy, and nobody trusted him in the locker room. Well, you got him fired, and I don't. And Mike McCarthy and his play clock management is suspect at best, even if you're on PlayStation 5. But I will tell you what, he's won games everywhere he's been. Right? You can't take anything away from what he's doing down there in Dallas. But now this is the second head coach that you got fired. Personally got fired. And it does happen. Reggie Herring, I wrote about Reggie Herring in my book. I love Reggie Herring. He took my game to another level for the 3 years that we worked together. I still talk to him to this day. I'm praying for him because he's down in Florida. There were guys that I played with that Reggie, they viewed it as too hard on them. Essentially, he wanted them to essentially line up and play hard. That got him fired. Now, obviously, Reggie knows how to coach. He went to Denver. He went to Dallas. Then he was in Denver, won a Super Bowl and all that. He's been hired multiple times. Was a leading tackler in Florida State history when he played. But it does happen like that, man. And that's how you have a poisonous type of organization when you have a player that can go and get a coach fired. Now, if a coach is treating you bad, right, then all bets are off. But if he is coaching you and wanting you to be what you need to be, you wouldn't. The Jets are done. You can't come back.
And we've seen. They pulled back the curtain. So they did the hard knocks.
Yeah.
Right. And you get to, if you're really paying attention, I mean, there's the entertainment side of hard knocks.
Yeah.
But there's a reason why a team is on hard knocks. There's a reason.
Oh, yeah.
There's some shenanigans and nonsense. HBO is never going to say, you know what? We're going to do hard knocks to the most boring, between the boundaries, foundationally sound, right? They make good decisions. The cuts are easy because you've got an old squad and you're simply trying to infuse some new blood into it, right? They're going to run it. Nope. They love the train wreck. They love the train wreck. They know. And we got to see the Jets. And you watched it. And listen, that fake coolness that was rampant with the Jets.
Yeah.
And I remember saying on this very show that if Rodgers is legit in his motivation, and it's not ego-driven, but win-driven, and there's a difference between him doing well, proving that he still got it, and him doing the things required for the Jets to be a factor in the AFC. And there's a difference. And we've seen now, you can't lead if you really thinking about yourself.
You can't do it. Yeah, that's the perfect. That's the phenomenal. And if you want an example of somebody doing it to, going to a place and doing, just look at Tom Brady when he went to Tampa. Tampa is still benefiting. I don't care what Baker Mayfield says. Still benefiting off of Tom Brady coming there. Still to this day. So you usually tell your legacy after you leave. So the championship or winning DNA is now in Tampa. A lot of those same players, but he brought it. He brought it out of them. Aaron Rodgers is just getting in there and trying to do his thing for Aaron, and it's all about him. And he's very intelligent. He's very smart, but you're not the smartest guy in the room, dude. You're just not. You're still.
We need you to be the best leader in the room,
but you can't if you're not invested. I mean, it's a perfect segue. Because I said I was going to talk about what it takes to win. It doesn't matter if you're in Pee Wee leagues, high school, college, or the pros. I think sometimes people get so like fixated on these catchwords, right? Like I always talk about in the draft as soon as everybody gets drafted, it's a surreal feeling. Okay, that everybody says that. Why? What do you feel like when you get drafted? Man, I feel great. I can't believe this is happening. That's what you need. Then it's the surreal. Or it's buy-in, or it's culture, or it's, mindset or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, there's about 2 or 3 things that need to happen. And we're talking about the Jets. We can talk about the Browns. We could talk about Dallas. We could talk about anybody. You need 2 or 3 things to happen to give you what I call that Mr. T starter kit that you can always start with and go back to, and you will continue to win. Why is Kansas City continue to win? Why is Philly generally? Why is Pittsburgh? Because these 2 or 3 things are always done. And with that being said, we're going to take a quick break. Come back, short segment, 5 o'clock hour. We'll dive into that as well. We'll return some texts here, or we'll read off some of your texts here in a short segment. Jay Foreman, DP Harrison. We'll be right back.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Attention students and anyone else looking for a great deal. Sun Valley Lanes and Games has the ultimate weeknight special. For just $15.95, enjoy unlimited bowling, lucky putt mini golf, and laser tag. Flash your college ID at check-in to receive $2 off your admission. It's the perfect way to unwind Sunday through Thursday nights. Check out sunvalleylanes.com for hours and availability. Sun Valley Lanes and Games, located at 321 Victory Lane.
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete. Sun Valley.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
It happens. All of a sudden, you need a plumber. Just call Bryant, 467-1111. Problem solved with Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Hey guys, it's Nick. Join me and Jay Foreman this Friday at 8 p.m. from Seacrest Field as Grand Island takes on Lincoln North Star. The Gators are 4-2 on the year and led by head coach James Thompson, while the Islanders are still searching for their first win of 2024. Kickoff is slated for 8 p.m. with pregame coverage starting at 7:45 p.m. It's the Islanders and the Gators this Friday on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The electrical workers of local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. It doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
My husband has always been the one we depend on. He's a great dad, loves the outdoors. But lately, he hasn't been himself. He tried to hide it, but I can tell he's struggling with his mental health. I called the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline.
988 calls and texts are free and confidential with skilled caring support 24/7. No judgment, just help.
988 saved my husband's life.
Paid for by the University of Nebraska Public Policy Center. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
Load up on meat and more this fall at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's special through October 15th is $2 off tray packaged ground beef, $2 off hot dogs, 15% off cookbooks, and buy one, get one 50% off on hardcore carnivore seasoning. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Highway 2 in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Tailored Life is your headquarters for all things fall in Bennett. Make the short drive down Highway 2 for tons of items for your home, both indoors and outdoors. Check out their variety of potted trees, mums, and more. Plus, porch pots and landscape lighting to enhance the outside of your home. Don't forget their home goods for indoors, plus convenient drinks and snacks, most of which are produced locally. Visit Tailored Life today in Bennett and stay tuned to their Facebook page at Tailored Life 360 for food truck events coming up.
It's another big week of college football, and we've got you covered with a doubleheader right here on 93.7 The Ticket. We start with the Red River rivalry from the Cotton Bowl with a little SEC flavor this year, as Quinn Ewers in number 1 Texas takes on number 18 Oklahoma. Broadcast starts at 2 p.m. with kickoff slated for 2:30. Then we jump to the Big Ten for an undefeated showdown between top 5 teams. Number 2, Ohio State travels to Eugene to take on number 3, Oregon. That broadcast starts at 6 p.m. with a 6:30 kickoff.
Catch the action on the gridiron all season long here on 93.7 The Ticket.
Back to Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Well, we're back. Quick segment here. We're going to get to some of these texts. Mississippi Mud Dog, he says, here's the question of the day. He says, why do you think Rodgers loves Hackett so much? It's clear that when Hackett was in Green Bay, LaFleur still ran the offense. Hackett has been awful everywhere. Without LaFleur, I don't get Rodgers' love for that dude. Well, the reason why I think, in my opinion, is that in Nathaniel Hackett, look, he's a decent coach, right? He's not head coach worthy, but whatever, right? I mean, The Bachelor got a head coach. I call Cliff Kingsbury The Bachelor. He got a head coaching job by having a cup of coffee with McVay. I think that Aaron Rodgers can run this dude over. And this is no different than, was it Adam Gase that was in Denver with Peyton or with Peyton Manning, and then he got a job. And so it's all about who you know. I don't know what the love affair is, but it is what it is. Ham and Bean says, how do you get fired on your day off? Yeah, Robert Saleh is hot. OG Les Lancaster put a futures bet on the Padres to win it all on August 1st. I hope you win it.
Listen, they were the right team to face the Dodgers. They have no fear.
No fear, and have fun beating them too.
Yeah.
And that's like Boston back in the day when they beat the Yankees. What they call them? The dummy? What they call the? Remember, it was Johnny Damon and all those guys. They call themselves the dummies or something like that. And because they came back from down 3-1.
Well, I mean, the beauty of the Padres is that they had to get right, and since June, they're the number one. They've had the best record in baseball anyway.
Yeah,
but they had to beat up the Dodgers to get in the playoffs to begin with.
Yeah,
and even then, in those last 2 series, they had no Dodger fear.
Yeah,
there was none, and you just went, "No, we got your number. We're cool."
Well, I think when you need to beat somebody, and you beat them the way they did at the end of the year, I think that eliminates the aura factor. And it's going to be exciting to go down the list. WIB says we didn't even try to get Fields, who was traded for a pack of peanuts. He's talking about the Raiders. He says Adam says he is all in, yet we don't go all in with GM, OC, and running back. He's like, we got worse in 3 positions. And blah with the QB. That is a great dive into not only the Raiders, the Jets, and the Cleveland Browns. Mm-hmm. These NFL teams and listen, I would say this: if you don't get the quarterback right, especially in the NFL, you don't have a chance. The days of like a Jeff Hostetler or a Trent Dilfer, or you're so dominant on defense and that you can kind of win 17-10, those days are over because the other quarterbacks are too good. You know what I'm saying? So if you miss on the quarterback, like completely miss, like strike, like swing eyes closed, you don't have a chance.
We've seen it with Husker football on the college football level. And then, the NFL is just exemplified.
Well, it's the same thing. I mean,
to your point, they're too good in the NFL.
Yeah, and I think with college, it's not as much. It's more or less things that we'll talk about at the 5 o'clock hour. But yeah, you have to have a competent quarterback that fits, your system and what you want to do.
I hope at some point to get to have the conversation that John Thompson used to have about he had on his staff a BS coach. And he said that the job he goes, listen, everybody at this level is talented, everybody can coach, everybody's got facility, that stuff. He says, but what the difference between a good program, a great program, and a bad program is BS management. And he said it just takes enough for somebody to look at John Thompson and say, hey, coach, that ain't it.
Yeah.
Hey, player, don't take that to Coach Thompson.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think all these programs need to figure out how to remove the BS, because Andy Reid's figured it out in Kansas City, right? Georgia still has the difference between them being Alabama is being able to handle the off the field BS. That literally is the difference.
Yeah, because they has no control
right. And as soon as somebody figures it out.
Yeah. But I will. We're gonna dive into that, man, on who the BS meters are, meter checkers, since we always get meter checked out here.
Yep.
We'll talk about who the BS meter checkers are and how you go about doing it in creating a company. Let's just call it a business or company or team. To do so, it's the answers are easy, but it's hard to do. But it's generally as hard as you make it and people that you, I guess, anointed or thought make it. So we're going to take a quick break, come back, top of the 5 o'clock hour, dive into some college football, some good games this weekend, man. Woo! Some good games this weekend. Jay Foreman, DP, Harrison, we'll be right back.
You're listening to Old School with DP and J. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
More this fall at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese at 84th and Havelock. This week's special through October 15th is $2 off tray packaged ground beef, $2 off hot dogs, 15% off cookbooks, and buy one, get one 50% off on hardcore carnivore seasoning. Locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Highway 2 in Lincoln, or 168th and Maple in Omaha. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town. It's the fall sports season, and that means that the school year is back in session and you're planning road trips for Nebraska football games and following your kids around to their different events. Stop telling yourself you'll upgrade your car someday and do it now. Mullen Motors Lot is full of great vehicles to take home so you don't have to worry about your current car struggling through another season. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Lake and find your next ride. As your fall schedule gets busy, you'll need a reliable way to get to your destinations. Mullen Motors.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Explain to me again why we're sleeping on the ground.
Because we're thramping, thrift camping. It's saving us money and getting us closer to nature.
But we don't need to thramp. I just combined our home and auto insurance with our State Farm agent, so we have a rate that fits our budget.
All right. Do you think our agent can bring us an air mattress?
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krekak, at 402-474-1173.
Individual premiums and budgets will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
It's the best time of the year to order a new John Deere self-propelled windrower from Landmark Implement during the early order program. Hay harvest is a race against time. Order a new John Deere self-propelled windrower to harvest your hay quickly and efficiently while promoting quick dry down for quality hay. Now is the time to lock in the best price of the year. Contact your local Landmark location for full details on a new self-propelled windrower and experience the Landmark difference.
Attention students and anyone else looking for a great deal. Sun Valley Lanes and Games has the ultimate weeknight special. For just $15.95, enjoy unlimited bowling, lucky putt mini golf, and laser tag. Flash your college ID at check-in to receive $2 off your admission. It's the perfect way to unwind Sunday through Thursday nights. Check out sunvalleylanes.com for hours and availability. Sun Valley Lanes and Games, located at 321 Victory Lane.
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete. Sun Valley.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
College football in Lincoln, America. The time has come. Start your game day off right with the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Join the ticket crew as they bring you all the coverage you need to get you ready for the action. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Brought to you by General Fire and Safety, Raisin Canes, Perch Merch, Sunbelt Rentals, Mullen Motors, Select Plumbing, and the Kindler Hotel. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Step into healing at Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery. Our team of top-notch medical professionals turns pain into progress with state-of-the-art treatments and compassionate care. Visit prairieortho.com and discover the difference in quality orthopedic and plastic surgery services tailored to your unique needs. Your health matters, and Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery is dedicated to helping you thrive. Reach your full potential. Embrace a better tomorrow with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery.
My husband has always been the one we depend on. He's a great dad, loves the outdoors, but lately he hasn't been himself. He tried to hide it, but I can tell he's struggling with his mental health. I called the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline.
988 calls and texts are free and confidential with skilled caring support 24/7. No judgment, just help.
988 saved my husband's life.
Paid for by the University of Nebraska Public Policy Center. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Early break.
Anthony in the mailbag says, good morning, guys. Question for the mailbag. If you were trapped in a 10 foot by 10 foot concrete room with one animal, what is the largest animal you could kill with nothing but your bare hands?
I'd like to think I could whip an ostrich.
Get a hold of his neck. He's gonna whip him around.
Early break from 6 to 8 every weekday morning on 93.7 The Ticket. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Broadcasting veteran Derek Pearson.
When you find something that moves them, that makes them smile, celebrate it. That's your task. That's your superpower.
Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score!
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up, Jay Foreman, DP, my man Harrison on the ones and twos while Austin is in KC getting ready for the game. We're Old School, brought to you by the Mercado. Certified Piedmontese, Special Ingredients and Butcher Shop, 84th and Havelock, 30th Yankee Hill, 85th and Andremat, and 168th and Maple up there in the O. We're talking all things being successful and learning how to win and what it takes to win, especially in this weird dynamic of college football with the transfer portal, NIL, and essentially, I think I truly believe college football now is professional football and NFL football is entertainment. Now, whether you you want to get into conspiracy theories of the NFL, whether it's scripted or not, I'm just telling you, it's entertainment. Things are done for entertainment, both in the positive or negative, outside of a player doing something completely wrong. It's entertainment, it's selling, it's big business, it's big dollars, and that's the same way with college. But I think college is pros, or the old school version of pros, like kind of like when I played just free agency. You're getting paid. Sometimes you see younger guys come in and maybe they're one of the highest, if not the highest paid at their position, versus guys that have played. And that's no different than the NFL until they came with that hard salary rookie salary cap. They haven't done that in the college football. So it is professional football. And it's the hard thing, people, I think winners, and what it takes to win, I think everybody has an opinion, but if when you do it and you believe it and you live it and you love it, then it the difference. And I think sometimes now these kids are so business savvy coming up, or just being on the team, they can really, since Halloween, we're in October, they really can dress up and really, really look like they're a football player. They can make you think that they really love football, because you're not seeing their actions and you're not seeing what they really are willing to do or sacrifice on a daily basis. And, we have from PJ Fleck, when they beat us one time, he said that was a culture win. People talk about buy-in and stuff like that, which is all true. But then you have to really sit back and understand what the roles are and how those words come to reality, and make it not just temporary, permanent. You practice to make it permanent. Everybody's looking for perfection. Perfection is one time. Hit a hole in one, that's one swing. Permanent is Tiger Woods, up until obviously, really breaking down. Permanent, Jack Nicklaus. Permanent. Exactly when you see Jack Nicklaus get over the ball right now, even now to this day, he gonna hit that soft cut. Right? That's permanent. It's ingrained in him. So really, the simple way to look at it, a head coach's job, or the biggest head coach's job, when you come in, and it's different depending on where you go, right? Sometimes you just got to get people to walk and chew gum and just get out of their own way, right? But generally, the head coach has to come in and create, establish, communicate a clear vision. Just very simple. Now you can dive into all that stuff, right? But your culture and what your team, the culture is by the players. It's by the players. It's every single team. If you want an example, whereas here's the culture. You think about Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes told Kareem Hunt, "Dog, you were out of line." Kareem Hunt said, "The only way I can make it right and apologize is to change my actions." That's the culture, because you're not handling your business. When you see players get into each other, it's because of the culture. The culture where you will make sacrifices, or sometimes be forced to make sacrifices, is set forth by the team. Whether it was Christian Peter calling and said, "Listen, this is not a coach's decision. This is our decision. You're down on O Street, getting in trouble. You got to come see me." It's no different than a few years ago when Alabama, and they were playing, I want to say Clemson, somebody missed the curfew. They said, "Don't even worry about Nick Saban. This guy, you send him home. He's not even." We already moved his stuff out of the hotel room. The culture is set forth by the players, and is broke down like this. It's very simple, because you want to look at numbers. All right, it's the 20% thing. You got potentially 20% of your team that always wants to do just enough to get by, or recruit other guys to not do what they need to do because they're too busy being cool. We call those guys steak and sweatsuit guys. Steak, sweatsuits, seat. You want a seat on the bus, seat on the plane. Then you got 20% of your team that's gonna. Those are the guys you're gonna win with. Those are the guys that that's gonna implement your culture, your vision, so forth and so on. Then that leaves you with 60%. So now it's a battle of the 20%. Right? Majority of that 60% will go here. But just say if the whole 60% goes there, now you're really close to championship level. So now you need all that 60% plus that 20%, and then you got to re-recruit and make sure, or eliminate that other 20%. That's why when Coach Sam used to talk about the 85% rule, it wasn't just how you graded out. It was how you lived. It's the sacrifice that you're willing to give, because every team had pretenders. We in the 90s. I know people don't want to hear about the 90s. I'm not talking about the 90s. But when we won championship, we had guys on the team that were pretenders. We had guys on the team that really were kicking it, right? Every team has them. You just don't know it. But the guys that have done it know it. You have guys on every team, but you have to keep it at such a small number. It's almost like if you have 100 guys, you want 98 going one way, that the other two just like, you know what, I'm cool. This isn't for me. Here's another example. Since we're not allowed to talk about the 90s, me and DP were there at Big Ten Media Day. It was me, DP, and the crew. I think his last name was Dixon. He was a safety from Wisconsin. I know he was number 14. He came in and he explained that they tell recruits. Now, this is a present player telling a recruit, if you're not willing to work and do what we need to do, don't come here. To this day, you hear what Georgia tells their guys. If you're not about winning and if you're not about working hard, this isn't the place for you. That's the culture, because it doesn't matter who's there. It's just embedded in them. And a lot of times, people get it mixed up and try to make this whole like big deal into it's not even about the 90s. The 90s, what we did in the 90s to win championships was the same, was just what they were kind of trying to do in the 80s, but we did it a little bit better. We had a little bit more buy-in. We had a little bit more selfless guys and not selfish. And that's just the honest to God truth, whether people want to hear it or not. You had a lot of guys that sacrificed individual accolades for the betterment of the team. And that's the way it goes.
Well, I think most at most levels, there's several problems in play. The business side of it,
which is totally different.
Right?
We never had to deal with that.
Right.
So
away from business, away from the business side of it. Day one tryouts on the high school level. Everybody on the line, having to sprint from the wall to the line.
Yeah.
And then without any real reason or direction to it, I need to know how fast you can get from the wall to the end, to the baseline.
Mm-hmm.
I need to know how quickly you can get from the sideline to the huddle.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
I need to know how quickly you can get from center field to the dugout.
Right.
And vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the standard I'm now going to set.
Right.
It does several things. One, it shows me, if you're able to listen, take instruction, you show me what your maximum capability is.
Yeah.
And then I get to set the standard for what that is. That, listen, anytime I say on the line, I now know how long it takes to do that.
Yeah.
When I say huddle up, there's no question. We don't have, there are several conversations we don't have to have about transitioning and tempo and all those things, because this is the level, the speed that we're moving at. And we set that, Jay, day one.
Yeah. I mean, you set the vision.
Right? And then I say,
vision,
and then drill one in football, you know what? Can you run? Can you run? Because football, basketball, baseball, they're all runners' games.
Yeah.
They're all runners' sports. So can you run?
Yeah.
And if you can't run, guess what? There's some things that you can't do.
We got to get you to run.
Right?
Yeah.
So we're going to run. Then football is a tackling game. It's a tackling game. So then we show you and say, listen, we're going to tackle.
Yeah.
So we're going to run, we're going to tackle. Then it's a blocking game. It's a blocking game. And if I don't care if it's Harrison against Jay, Harrison against Ben, Harrison against DP.
Yeah.
I'm going to give him rules for blocking. And those are the standards that never get changed. Because if we run, we block, we tackle. Jay Foreman, we're ahead of half the teams we're going to face from day two.
Yeah, that's the 80%.
Right?
The 80 versus 20, that's more like a basketball type of, but in football, where you have like 150 guys, you gotta have your captains, your sub-captains, and your captains in waiting. The best leaders are guys that have been led and want to be led, because as they were getting led, they fell in love with leadership and how they were going to lead themselves.
Well, the result.
And then it's not the result, because The result is the ultimate payoff, but that's the wins and losses. But that's why when you're really truly a winner, you never talk about the wins and losses, because
never have to.
you know that if we do the things that we need to do, it's humanly impossible generally to win every single game. If I came to college as a freshman to win every single game when I leave in 5 years, it doesn't happen. But you know that you'll win a high percentage of the games if you do the things you've done. Whether when you put in a system in place, I always say that's the Mr. T starter kit. What you do with it inside that locker room and what guys are willing to do, that's either your personal choice or what you are demanded to do, not by a coach. Because if players are letting you get away with, then it's done. Because the players are together more times than not. They're together way more than the coaches. The players have to set the culture. Everybody else sets the vision, and yes, you can be the authority figure, but unless you, and it's like this. Okay, well, if you have a house and you say, okay, look, we want this and stuff done while we're out of town or whatever, and they do it when you're here, but then they have a raging party when you're gone. Well, the discipline and the want to and the buy-in of what you want to be done is out the door. You have to be able to set the culture in there. And if you don't know, you have to be willing to listen. A lot of guys that have played here in the past or in the recent or whatever, they hear you, but they ain't listening. The difference is if you listen, you won't look at it as negative. They're trying to help you be a better version of yourself. So when you get old and broke down like me, then you'll be like, you know what? The dude actually knew what he was talking about, and he don't need nothing from me. Winning is the hardest thing right now because of what DP said, the business, the transfer portal, NIL. But somehow, some way, teams continue to do it.
Well, some teams are going to win for a variety of reasons. Like some people have figured out how to win with the transfer portal. So there's a way.
Yeah.
But we tend to say through leadership and defining leadership, because there's different kinds of leadership. The best player has to be a leader. The best athlete has to be a leader. Has to be.
Yeah,
then the smartest player, highest IQ, highest football IQ, offensive defense, that guy has to be a leader, has to be a captain. Then the hardest worker has to be, like we call it, the 4 fence posts. So the best athlete, the smartest, the hardest worker, and then there's the guy who loves it the most. There's a guy that loves football and loves the way Jay Foreman coaches so much that he's the perfect example. And if I need the team to move intellectually, my IQ guy leads the corner.
Right.
If I need for them to just be athletic and play the game fast, it's the best athlete. If it's the hardest worker, we know that we can work through most things. We may not be the tallest, the strongest, but we're going to do what we're told to do. And then the one who loves it is the one who completes the package. One, they're able to get in corners that we can't get into, right? That's the guy that in a locker room can get people to rally because, quite frankly, he loves it so much that everything he does shows that.
Mm.
Those are the captains. That's the leadership.
Yeah.
And to make sure that people want to go, well, the 4 best players are the captains. Nope.
No.
Nope.
No, I mean, you got in a weird way, you got a team full of captains, and it might be at different ages, or different parts of your team, because, say like when, I guess, God forbid, I'll talk about when I was in college, but just say like Harrison's on the team and we're in a freshman class. Well, then, but we're all redshirted. Well, there's a captain of that, and leaders of that freshman class, because we're all going through the meat grinder together, and we're not playing in the games. If we're all in on a defense unit, say like you're a D lineman, I'm a linebacker, DP is a DB, and one of us, and we're not giving the offense a good look. Well, one of us is going to have to step up and hold each other accountable and say, listen, dude, you can't be doing that. Or if one of us missing classes and all this other stuff, and now all the freshmen are running. That's happened before. Somebody's had to say, you know what, enough is, I don't want to run for no reason, or I don't want to be, held accountable for no reason. You have a ton of captains, but the best teams that have players that want to be led. The leaders have to lead in different ways. You have to do certain things, and leadership is hard because a lot of times you have to have uneasy conversations with your peers because you want the best out of them. Yeah, you can hold each other accountable, and it's funny because a lot of like new age kids, they just want to sit around and wait for you to mess up if you're a so-called leader. Okay, that's fine if that's what you want to work on, if that's what you want to wait for. But the reason why some people are in a leadership position is because they put in the work and made the sacrifice that you haven't been willing to make yet. And it takes a lot to do it, to win. That's why it's such a big deal to make sure that you have guys, and that's where the buy-in comes. Like, that's more or less a personal choice. Like, when you talk about touching lines and all that, and you know what? Some of the best players I've played with, when we were working hard, asked questions. Man, what do we need to do this for? But you know what? When the whistle blew or we had to get on the line, they butt was on the line. Or when we had to hit the line or run the gases or make the time, they did it. There's nothing wrong with pushback.
Yeah, it's that line between the guy that asks, "What are we doing?" and then the guy that says, "Here's what we're doing."
Right. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with pushback. There's nothing wrong with pushback.
Perfect.
As long as the stuff is getting done. Because after a while, when they start to see the benefits of what you were doing, the pushback becomes less. The problem is when somebody when they go through the action of quitting, when they go through the action of not giving them their all, if they don't do that, and then that is sometimes more infectious. Now, granted, just like any other business, when you look at Bama or whatever teams that have been successful, it is from top down. But I'm just talking about purely in that locker room. When you're in that locker room, you spend a ton of time together, whether it's in the study hall or doing all this type of stuff. So those are the dudes that are going to control it. Like, you can't keep running. Like, you can't run to a coach because so-and-so didn't show up on time. What if the coach is on like on vacation? Like, if Harrison don't show up, Harrison's got to come see me before you get upstairs. And you want it to be like, Coach, I got it handled. And that's how you are able to win in this day and age. Now, you talk about the portal real quick. The portal works best, I always say, when you're shopping a la carte. We're sitting in there. It doesn't matter who's the head coach, GM, or whatever. Like, man, we need a slot corner, right? You go in there. You got the list, and it's up to the people that are scouting, and that, like DP says, has their their ability to get the conversations in the dark corners who might come up, and that's why you self-scout. That's why you scout the potential guys that are that you might have recruited and not got. You got to kind of keep a little bit of a tab on them and kind of a little bit of their situation, especially if it came down, you're in the final 3 or 4 and have a good relationship. Maybe another coach comes in and he has a relationship with Harrison, right? And then now he comes. And so that's how you're able to, that's where you can be very, very effective. And that's where I think where Nebraska's probably done a better job of this type of portal because they knew exactly what they wanted. And it's also what you have to make sure that you do. It's personality, right? Because you got to make sure, or not make sure, you want to be able to hopefully forecast whether they personality-wise can fit in and will get along with what you're trying to do.
Well, I mean, that's also leadership and talent, because talented players assess who can play amongst themselves, right? Team-led players. Listen, coach, he's not that dude. Like, right. I can lean against him. Coach, that's not working. Hey, coach, the leadership is sometimes in the classroom. Sometimes the leadership is in the nightclub.
Yeah.
Hey, man, we can go, but we need to get out of here at 9:00.
We gotta be. We don't got to stay at 2. We got to be home at 12. And,
right.
And here's an example. This is a totally different other sport.
Gotta be quick. We do got Royals coming up here.
Okay, so. We got Royals. I've talked to Mark Manning on his recruiting trips. He puts all the trust in the guys on his squad. Seems to work out pretty dang well.
Yep.
Harrison says it. We got to be up the Royals up pregame, right?
Yep.
Pregame.
Yep,
Pregame
correct.
Royals. We're going to turn over to the stream real quick. Jay Foreman, DP Harrison. We'll be right back.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with DP and Jay on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, I'm State Senator Bo Ballard. I was born and raised right here in Lancaster County. I understand the value of hard work by being involved in our family business. I built my own company, creating jobs right here in our community. Nebraska families and business owners need lower taxes, more affordable health care, and a great education system. That is why I fought for the largest tax cut in Nebraska history, reduce the cost of health care, and help pass the biggest investment in our public schools. I'm Senator Bo Ballard, and I humbly ask for your vote on November 5th, paid for by Ballard for Nebraska.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Couple Chevrolet GMC, and we want to thank all of our customers for a great September. And now it's time for our annual Halloween sales event happening right now at Koppel. Get 0% financing at Koppel. You heard right, 0% financing on select new models. Also, huge discounts up to $11,500 are available. It's our annual Halloween sales event. Get $11,500 off or 0% financing at Koppel. So please stop on by or check us out online at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did. 0% with roof credit.
Tailored Life is your headquarters for all things fall in Bennett. Make the short drive down Highway 2 for tons of items for your home, both indoors and outdoors. Check out their variety of potted trees, mums, and more. Plus, porch pots and landscape lighting to enhance the outside of your home. Don't forget their home goods for indoors, plus convenient drinks and snacks, most of which are produced locally. Visit Tailored Life today in Bennett and stay tuned to their Facebook page at Tailored Life 360 for food truck events coming up.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Perch Merch is your one-stop shop for all your printing and promotional needs in Lincoln, Nebraska. They specialize in screen printing, embroidery, vehicle wraps, window wraps, print collateral, promotional products, and signage. At Perch Merch, they are committed to delivering high-quality products and exceptional customer service. Their experienced team of designers and printing professionals will work with you every step of the way to ensure that your vision is realized. Call for a quote today at 402-217-5212 or go to perch-merch.com.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Hey guys, it's your girl Jordan from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. Gentlemen, it's time to elevate your style with something from our men's jewelry and watch collection. Why not treat yourself to the ultimate in luxury? We've got an incredible selection of pre-owned Rolex watches, even those hard-to-find models you've been dreaming of. Whether you're stepping up your game day look or adding a touch of class to everyday wear, our top-tier collection is sure to impress. Stop by Sartor Heyman and discover the perfect piece to reflect your unique style. Until next time, happy shopping, guys.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for ready-mixed concrete, Husker Concrete, and Beatrice Concrete. Nebco offers great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they pay for CDL training. Apply today and start your new career with a $2,500 hiring bonus. From Nebco's beginning in 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's NEBCOINC.com. General Fire and Safety has been keeping Lincoln businesses and commercial structures safe for more than 50 years. From a simple fire extinguisher to full fire suppression systems, Lincoln has trusted General Fire and Safety to provide top-of-the-line products, installation, and maintenance. If you're starting a new business in a brand new building, call on General Fire and Safety to help you plan a fire safety system that fits the specific needs of your business, employees, and customers. Call General Fire and Safety today at 402-261-0116.
Midwest Bank is proud to be your local community bank right here in Lincoln. This is Travis with Midwest Bank, now with 2 branches conveniently serving Lincoln and 8 other locations across Nebraska. We're here to help you with any of your needs. From opening a checking account to buying a home or financing your business, our staff is here for you. Stop in and you might see Shin Daddy himself. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank. Learn more at midwest.bank, member FDIC.
Ryan, with all this red and all these people around, I'm still not seeing the tailgate.
Todd Spidell, former body shop owner, terrible driver.
We're getting close. Now, did you know with 3 locations in Lincoln and hundreds of years of combined technician experience, we can get Husker fans back on the road even quicker and safer after their tailgate mishaps? Oh, Todd, turn left right here.
Left or right?
Left, right here.
Right?
Well, you wait for the tow truck. I'm getting a hot dog.
Well, I guess while I'm waiting. All right! Most recommended! Eustace Body Shop!
Woohoo! Dude, you should be on American Idol.
You really think so?
No.
Accidents happen, even to Husker fans. If it happens to you, call Eustace Body Shop, where our customers send their friends.
The most recommended Eustace Body Shop. That's who we are.
Back to Old School with DP and J on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Well, we're back. We're live on the stream. Jay Foreman, DP, Harrison on the ones and twos. Once again, the Royals are live pregame. I got my man Austin Orman down there covering it. They're going to bring all the exciting news, hopefully for the Royals to pull through tonight. Pretty well up to this point. But, we're just covering, football and what it takes and this new world of the transfer portal, man. I mean, it's the ever-changing landscape of college football. I think it's going to change again if or when they go to 105 and players become employees. I think it's going to affect it. I think in a good way. I don't think you will see as many guys jumping in the portal. I do think it's a little bit harder now to I don't know. I wouldn't call it D-star guys that Saban and those guys made famous because kids think, right? And here's why they think this. For every story that you hear of player A not liking his situation at said school and going in the portal, now all things equal, right? If he's a really, really good player, like Downs going from Bama to Ohio State, I mean, take that out. But said player to leaving school one, going in the portal and essentially leveling up financially and then obviously skill wise is like 1%. The majority of time you go into the portal, you make a lateral move or you go down. Now you can go down and then come back up and it works out very well. But the portal's will be a little bit different once you become an employee. Then it goes both ways, but it is different. So, like I said, the landscape of college football has changed. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to understand in 1994, 96, 97, 98 that there wasn't the transfer portal NIL. Essentially, they could do whatever they want. A coach, they could block they could block who you could transfer. They could block when you transferred, and then you would have to sit out a year. So that's why it wasn't happening that much. The rules have definitely changed. But what has not changed is what it takes to win and what you're willing to do. And so that's what, I think Rule and those guys are instilling, and they're, moving slowly but surely, to that, 85, 90, 90%, 95% on the team or whatever. I think they're higher than probably people would really think. And when you're in college football, everybody is very quick to judge. And that's where you have to have a plan on what you want, what you need, who you want, who you need, and be willing to adjust, maybe not pivot. Because you have to be able to adjust in the type of player you need, is because the Big Ten could change. Yeah, I mean, heck, in a year from now or 2 years from now, you could just be one big conglomerate of the Big Ten and SEC, and it'd be your own league and have your own national champion, and then you have the other two power, 4 conferences with everybody else, and
essentially going AFC, NFC.
Right. And then what? So then everything would change. How you operate, because now you're kind of recruiting in your own little bubble, playing in your own little bubble, if that comes to fruition. Or they might change to some sort of regional type of thing. So, and that would change the landscape of college football once again. And, with the changing of that, then expectations, have to be adjusted as well. So it's, I wouldn't say it's I don't think it's a hard time, but it's definitely not easy.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, and bouncing from program to program. One, mainly because you're moving states. So if I'm going from place to place, I am who I am no matter where I am.
Yeah.
And it didn't matter whether I was moving to a predominantly white school that had money, a predominantly black school that had money, a white school that didn't have money, a diverse school that did or didn't. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
I was the core to it. The transfer portal is just a magnifier and a mirror to what currently exists in that space. If you're a bad coach or you have a bad coaching staff, the transfer portal is only going to magnify who you already are. It doesn't matter if you whoever gets trained by Jay Foreman is going to get trained by Jay Foreman. And it doesn't matter if somebody transfers from Wesleyan or Doane or Alabama, they're going to get the Jay Foreman treatment and the Jay Foreman standard. Now, if it's not Jay Foreman as a coach, those things still apply.
Yeah.
You still have championship players from Alabama, but if the coach can't get them to fix or mend the things that were issues at Alabama, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Yeah, you go in the transfer portal and your habits and your work ethic and your buy-in or whatever you want to call it, all the things.
And you might get lucky to find out that, guess what? Maybe Coach DP can come up with the right words to get you to do the things that Coach Foreman can't get you to do.
Right.
But those are the 1% that you talk about.
And
like those are the ones where you go, it just was the perfect storm.
Yeah.
I would imagine that Joe Burrow was the same quarterback at Ohio State that he was at LSU. He just had people in front of him. And then
he got hurt.
And then he got hurt. And then you fall behind. Or Dwayne Haskins or the full range of those quarterbacks. Kyler Murray. He was the same dude at A&M that he ended up being at Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It's Troy Aikman. Like, we understood that even the change of programs and the systems do matter. But Troy Aikman's talent and work had to be in place in both places.
Yeah.
So, look, as much as we spend time on the transfer portal, it really is just
recruiting. It's just a second round of recruiting,
it's
and you got
second chance. It's second chance you.
Yeah, and I mean, you get a little bit. I guess you can say you can forecast a little bit better, because if we're recruiting Harrison and he's played 2 years at Youngstown State, you're like, okay, well, we actually see him playing against better competition on a 2-year basis than high school. And how can he maybe more readily fit into our system? But a lot of the things that have to deal with fits have nothing. First of all, there's Harrison, the player, and the person and the teammate. That's over here. Then it's like the scheme and the fit and opportunity, right? And so
then people playing with him, like the people next to him. You get the wrong person next to you, it's a problem.
Like say he does really well with a really good team-oriented defense where everybody's kind of in their place. Then you got guys that freelance. Well, then it makes the guy that freelances doesn't play well, then neither does Harrison. And it's always, you see this a lot at the NFL level, right? And I saw this when we happened to draft a linebacker, or he was a defensive end in college, named Corey Moore. I think at that time for Virginia Tech.
Yep.
I think at that time, I know he led the nation in sacks, but I think he might have been the all-time leader or one of the top leaders in sacks in ACC history at that time. Now, granted, there wasn't any COVID year and all the other stuff, so in a very short time, he was destroying quarterbacks. Well, then he gets to Buffalo, and they try to make him a linebacker. Now, this man didn't play 4 years with his hand in the dirt. Now, there is guys that can make the transition from hand in the dirt to, playing outside linebacker, so forth and so on. But it's not a lot. So what's always interesting to me in pros is where they spend all this money, resources, send DP out the scout, Harrison out the scout, send me to say like I'm the lead, I'm the the director of college scouting. We go out and we see this guy, and he's a, let's just say, middle linebacker, right? That's what he is. We're like, hey, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna draft him number 8. We're gonna put you on the outside. We drafted you watching this.
John Riggins.
Right.
John Riggins. At 6'2", 240 pounds, ran a 9,600-yard dash in Kansas, goes to the Jets, becomes the leading rusher for the Jets immediately. Comes to Washington. They turn him into a fullback. And he's not having the success. Now, he's still a grinder.
Right. But
that's
not with the Jets, right?
Not his thing. And then finally, Joe Gibbs says, okay, so what do we have to do? Because Jack Pardee had him running fullback. Joe Gibbs says, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? And he goes, I'm your tailback. I'm the best tailback in this league.
Right.
And Joe Gibbs said, you know what? I have resume that says that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try it. And then he heads to the Hall of Fame.
Mm.
He goes to the Hall of Fame because he finally had a coach that said, oh, yeah, do what you're good at.
Right.
And I'll coach you to it.
Right.
It's amazing how it happens across the board.
Yeah, it is crazy. And there's always a reply to it. There's always that case. So like Brian Urlacher, right? So he was a safety at New Mexico or New Mexico State, whichever one he went to. But he was 6'4", like 225. I mean, obviously, he was a freak athlete, obviously, right? That wasn't going to work in the NFL at a safety because he was just mainly, essentially, what Brian Urlacher did in college. Essentially, he was just a whole player, which is like a freelancing player that was able to go do his thing. Well, Chicago, if you remember when they first drafted him for height, weight, size, and speed. I mean, Urlacher is legit 6'4", 6'5". You know, he got up to 240 some pounds, I think 45 pounds, and he ran like a 4'4" or something. You know what they did? They put him at outside linebacker. Struggled immensely. Looked soft, looked slow, didn't know what he was doing, right? Well, then they was like, you know what? This is not working out. And said, you know what? Let's put him in the middle and let's see. And there you go.
Space eater.
The dude goes to the Hall of Fame.
Ball seeking missile.
Right. I mean, you can't throw down the middle of him because he's 6'5" and he can jump and run with any receiver. And then he had enough, strength, and he got better at taking on blocks. So then he became excellent against the run. Now you had a one-man wrecking crew along with Lance Briggs and whoever else, along with the rest of the defense. Now you got potentially 2 or 3 Hall of Famers out of there by just moving one guy into a position that he's more actually ready to play and better suited for than the outside. And so I think this, when you talk about the portal or guys going different places, the success rate just isn't based on, okay, Harrison had, 40 or like 80 tackles here. So you know what? He's automatically going to have those here. And sometimes you don't know what type of system he played in until you really do some digging. The problem is I think during the portal, everything's happened so quick that you're not able to do the same research as if say Harrison was allowed to kind of be like a Junior Seau. So there's a thing about Junior Seau is that he would call out apple or like a B word or like bagel or like cat or something. So that would just let the defensive line know if it was apple, he gonna just blitz the A gap, cover my back, B gap this. If you don't know that Junior Seau had, like just on the surface, you're like, man, that dude's just making plays. Well, you didn't know that the whole defense was centered around him making those plays, and everybody else had enough experience to play off him.
That was the thing that created issue in Carolina because Kuechly did that at such a high frequency and volume that he literally outstudied every offensive coordinator he played against. And the players around him excelled because he was literally calling out plays.
Yeah.
Like he was calling out, hey, listen, this is what they run out of this. Here's what you need to do. Hey, A-gap this one. Just A-gap it, even if it seemed wrong against what they were lined up against. And then Kuechly gets hurt. And then he's out the game. And you replace somebody who can't possibly make everybody around him as good as they were.
Right. He essentially was just, and he was like in their system.
Yeah. He was.
And that's where you see somewhat of a drop off, and that's where you got to make sure you really, really know the player and how. And like with Luke Kuechly, right? He's a perfect example, DP, where you talk about a guy that's, okay, he didn't win a Super Bowl. He went to Boston College. They didn't win a national championship, but he's a winner. He's a winner. Why is he a winner? He was extremely invested in the game of football. He got bigger, faster, and stronger by going to Boston College. But then he did everything he could to Boston College to wins. And they actually end up exceeding expectations the last 2 years he was there. And that's where people always like, oh, if you don't win a national championship, you're not a winner. No, that's not it. Did you do the things you did or needed to do to be a champion? Were you a champion every day? Did you have the intent on being your best? Were you just playing or were you competing? And that's not just on Saturdays or Sundays or Mondays or Thursdays or whatever games that are on. It's an everyday type of thing. You got to compete on days like in a couple months when it's high at 23, 24, 20-mile-an-hour wind. You got to be able to do that. And you got to do a lot of things when people aren't watching because what you do when people aren't watching plays itself out in front of millions of people and whatever league you're in. And
and that's and I think people miss that when that's said, what you do in the dark comes to light.
Yeah.
And they always think of it in the negative.
You just took the words
right.
Right.
Like just think of, man, but no, the other side pays off.
Yeah.
But you have to have an example of it
right
to share to people and say, hey, listen, show Keekly in film study, right? To go through, show Jordan's breakdown of what happened in critical mass. Show, as much as you talk about Rodman and his partying, go and show Rodman rebounding 1,000 rebounds
and having his friends shoot that they couldn't play basketball so he could see it off. Like this is here's what I would say to somebody, right? Like that, you hear people, talk about the 90s, and that if the 90s scare you, then I'll just dress up in my football uniform.
No, be scared.
I'll dress up and I'll come in here. Won't look pretty, but I'll get in my pants right here. Here's what I'd say. Okay, here's why I would do it. I would say this. Okay, first you start with like Pistol Pete. Then you could go to I love George Gervin. I'll even take it a step further. Bernard King had 9 points on each side of the court. What he did, right? Then you could take it to obviously Larry Bird, Isaiah. You could take it to Jordan,
Stockton,
right? Stockton, Malone. Okay, so now we're in Jordan, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we're at Kobe. So now everybody knows who Kobe is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, take it a step further. LeBron, Curry, KD, and who are present day. They've all said the same thing. We have put in so much time that we have a process that no matter where we're playing, we're going to win. They know the game. You've heard the story. Everybody says LeBron's coaching the team. When Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett knew that they couldn't beat him is when he told them exactly what you guys are going to do. And then my man what's the little dude number 30, Cole? Remember him? He was on the Heat. And
Bimbo.
No, it was Keon Cole. He had the flat top. He's like, yeah, he's going to hit that corner three. He's going to hit that. He told him, so this dude's going to hit the corner three. You're going to come and you're going to soft hedge me, double team. I'm going to pass him in the corner and beat you. Kobe Bryant, when he did before he passed away, he did his breakdown of players, but then of his play, right? And then of Jordan, obviously, that's now said. All these players, Bernard King, if you guys think there's such a difference in being great scorer, just Google Bernard King, what he says. It's the same thing that Steph Curry says right now. I get to a spot, it's lights out. A perfect example. Your boy Luka against the French Connection, the Eiffel Tower. It was over. And you saw the guy, Anderson, in the back where he said this, his old teammate was like, no, it's over. Because Luka knew, and when they got into a pick and roll situation, I'm in and out dribble, I got a fake, bust down. It's all about preparation and what you put into it. It's not about the time. It's not going to change. Until you show me a team that don't hold themselves accountable, don't work hard, don't play for something bigger than them, are selfish and not selfless, and they win championships, I'll just sit back and chill. I don't care when it is. What do you do? Okay, here's even a better example. Since we won't talk about the 90s, we'll talk about the 60s. Everybody wants to talk about championships. Bill Russell, if you think about championships, he's the best player of all time. Bill Russell played with a whole bunch of Hall of Famers. He sacrificed for that.
11 rings.
But he has 11 rings, right? So even let's take the Bulls with Jordan. Pippen sacrificed. Horace Grant sacrificed. Tony Kukoc sacrificed. B.J. Armstrong sacrificed. Everybody sacrificed.
Ron Harper made the great.
Right.
Ron Harper was a 23-point a game 2 guard in Cleveland. And said,
how'd
you know what?
Hold up, but how'd that work out for him?
Right, right,
right.
You get tired of getting diced,
right?
And he said, you know what? I'm gonna go over here and play pseudo point guard.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna defend their best offensive player, right? And it wasn't Scotty always.
Right.
Harper was the best backcourt defender.
Right. Right. Or
and not even Jordan.
Let's take it a
It's
step.
Ron Harper.
We'll even talk about the Lakers with Kobe. Right? What do you think, Paul? You really think Paul Gasol? I mean, obviously he made the Hall of Fame. You think he probably could have scored what 4,000 more points if he was, right? If he was on a team where it was just him or Buck. Here's a perfect example for you guys. Kevin Love, Timberwolves. He would remember that. I remember I was like, man, this dude's scoring 28 points, 20 rebounds.
He was dominant.
Right.
Over with the Timberwolves.
Timberwolves. For if they were making the playoffs, they were out quick. Right? He goes and he goes to the third option and goes and plays with LeBron, gets a championship. You have to sacrifice in order to be a champion. It's not going to change. If you don't want to talk about LeBron because that's too close to the 90s, we'll talk about the Golden State Warriors. What do you think Andre Iguodala was doing? He's a Hall of Famer.
Mm-hmm.
Livingston, the best mid-range game. He got the best between him and KD and Jordan. They go back. I guess Kobe in there too.
DeMar throw him in there.
Yeah, DeMar. Yeah, but Livingston. He's a lottery pick.
After that injury, he figured out a way to be lethal with
And
that mid-range jumper.
And I am going to say, just for the record, that there are 3 mid-range guys that nobody ever talks about. Oscar Robertson was literally the master.
DP, hold on, DP. You're not allowed to talk about anything preceding 2015. We're talking about present
like
day.
Tiny Archibald, who at 5'11" led the NBA.
No, it was a different game back then.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, everything was a mid-range jumper. If you go far back enough.
Right. But I'm just saying, right? There's guys like the Golden State Warriors team. Andrew, what's it? Andrew Bogut? No, Andrew
Bogut. Yeah.
He made sacrifice. Everybody did.
Air Bogut.
You know what I'm saying? Like guys made sacrifice. Okay, look, we'll even take it as me and Strick were talking about in the cross. You think Klay Thompson ain't sacrificed? I mean, he played essentially. He has the least amount of dribbles scoring in a game, and what he scored like
43.
Yeah, 43.
Mm-hmm.
And he's always been like whether it was reluctantly okay with third like wheel. It's Steph. And then obviously Draymond with his personality.
Well, he's playing with an offense that didn't necessarily fit his style of game.
But he made it work, right?
Right?
And how many championships he got?
What did the Warriors end up with? He's got 3?
He's got 4.
4?
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
He's got 4.
Because back and forth with
right.
the Cavs.
He's got 4.
Mm-hmm.
So then you got present day, whether it's the, all I'm saying is not going to change. It's not going to change.
Jaylen Brown is the perfect core to that. On any team, he should be the guy. On any team.
He is a 20-plus shot guy.
And he's just like, nope, I'm here.
But what did he do, DP, in order to win a championship? What did he do? He upped his defense. Yep. And what did he do? When Tatum was struggling, who was able to push him over the edge? Right? And then guess who came with him? White. Then obviously everybody else. There you go, championship.
And those are the guys that work in the dark with Jaylen Brown, right? To go, listen, we can go to practice at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
We don't have to talk to media about it. We don't have to get out there and share our business. We're going to just go to work.
Like if you don't think guys in the professional level sacrifice, I'm telling you right now, I saw him play in a pro-am. I don't know why he was in Minneapolis. Is Pritchard? He would give you work. If he was on any other team, he's a 12-plus point scorer. He's like 8th on the bench, 9th on the bench. He goes back to Boston. Why? Because it's bigger himself. So it's not going to. I'm sorry, it's not going to change. I'm sorry to hurt people's feelings. It's not going to change. You have to understand it. There's a price to winning, and sometimes it sucks until you win. Right, Harrison?
Yeah. Well said.
I always tell people. I'll tell you this right quick. I shouldn't even say this, but the listen, when you win, and it has nothing. It does take national championship. When you win, and this is even like when I played in the pros. When you win a big game, weirdly enough, the elation of guys in there sweaty. You got, when you're on the road, I'm thinking about a time when we went up and beat New England on the road. The locker rooms is like literally the size of this, and guys are in there. Some guys are, got the towels. I mean, it's pure elation because you've done something that you have no business doing. Right? That's what it's about. That's what it's about. Anyways, good segment. Wish the Royals best of luck. We're going to pass it over to DP, my man Barry. They're one-on-one. I love me some Barry, man. He's a good, cool dude.
He gets after it, man. He gets after it. If you're not following him on social media, you're missing his QB work. Special.
Yeah, he does. And you know what? The best thing about it, he's invested in them.
Yeah.
He's invested in all his kids, and that's why they've all been successful. But we're old school. We're going to turn it over to DP and one-on-one. We'll holler at you tomorrow. We're out.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless